Hello and welcome to another episode of Inspo with Eno. Thank you very much for joining me today. As we consider the topic, don't just look but see. Looking and seeing both have to do with our sight. However, it can vary based on the depth of our vision and understanding. My mom once told me a story about a 3-year-old girl. Her parents worked for a certain lawyer who lived on the 4th floor of a 5-story building. One day, my mom observed that the girl needed her mother's attention as she headed for the stairway, wobbling and crawling at some point till she got to the 4th floor. My mom followed her from a distance, and it's either you knock very hard or use the doorbell, which was a better alternative to gain the attention of the occupants on the 4th floor. The girl's hands were not matured enough to knock loudly, and the doorbell was far from her reach. Just as my mom decided to help her press the bell, she noticed that the girl had a pebble in her hand, which she held onto all through her climbing and crawling struggles along the stairway. The girl used the pebble in her hand, making a rat-a-tat sound on the door, and within some seconds the door was opened for her as she went in happily. From this story, it is clear that this was not the first time the little girl embarked on that journey. So instead of looking at the struggles on the way to the 4th floor, she used all the techniques she knew to help her climb the stairs successfully. The little girl also prepared for the challenges with a pebble in her hand to knock at the door. Looking at her height, it was impossible to reach for the doorbell. Perhaps in her previous journey, she was the only one on the stairway, so she did not envisage meeting a helper along the way. She would have looked more closely around her and saw pebbles on the floor, which she decided to use as a tool to make up for her limitations or disadvantage in height. This story got me thinking about how we may have limited ourselves. We may have looked on that issue based on the surface value and might have allowed the stress or setbacks on our first attempt deter us from seeing the bigger picture ahead. Seeing the bigger picture ahead, or the prize ahead, helps us to see the potential tools, potential clues, leads to explore, so that we can strategize and go for our goals. Ephesians chapter 1 verse 18 says, I pray that the eyes of your heart may be enlightened in order that you may know the hope to which he has called you and the riches of his glorious inheritance in his holy people. Can you pause for a minute? Calm down as you look more closely around you to see those things you could do better. See tools you could use to give yourself a comparative advantage over your contenders or that challenge, and see the victory ahead. Don't just look, but see great possibilities around you. Have a wonderful day.